Good morning and happy Valentine's Day. My wife and I are uh, leading a small group of people to host the single senior ladies in our congregation at noon today. So we're getting some things cared for and then be heading to church to get that implemented. I trust your week is going well. This is week 5, which means it's the week for 3 assignments. You have the reading and the content that you need to consider. And then as we work on the assignments, I just want to highlight the assignments today. The listening to an online service. It should not be your own local church where you're currently attending, but one that would just give you a broader perspective. I have listed some megachurch websites that are very available. Be sure you listen to an entire sermon, not just an entire service, not just the sermon. The second assignment is related to small church ministry. It's a great opportunity to learn some valuable material. The book that I give you a couple chapters from is Small Church Essentials by Carl Vaders. It was printed in 2018, so it's very current, but also he writes from a long experience of serving in a local church. The other option for a small church is to study the Rural Home Missionary Association, RHMA, website. Read some of the articles in there, some of the prospects and potentials and their priorities. That's a great organization. So I strongly recommend both of those. And if you have some time to do both of them, you will be a more enriched person. Uh, so that's a crucial experience. The third assignment is the demographic studies. You have the demographics that you're to put on the left side of your page, those various categories, and then various subcategories, and then the census data. And then the last column for you is going to be your estimate of your congregation. For instance, if you see that the census data says that there are 72% of the population are between the ages of 50 and 100, but you see in your congregation you're only ministering to 15%, then you begin to think, what can we do to reach that large segment of society? So you have some very specific directions in that. Be sure to carefully follow them. Then I want to call your attention to upcoming weeks. Next week, you are to interview your pastor for an hour with the assigned questions that are listed there in assignment number 6. You need to get an appointment this week for next week. Maybe you'll do it this week also, but you need to get started on that. Minimally tell him you need to have an hour sometime to interview him for a class. And then the next week, you're to gather 4 to 7 congregants to address those same questions. Now, in that process, you need to realize that group needs to be diverse. It needs to be some young people. It needs to be some elderly people. It needs to be diverse between men and women, teens and retirees, married, single, longtime members, perhaps somebody member less than a year, or simply attenders right now, so that you get a broad perspective for those that interview for the various questions. It's a fun time, but it does take effort to get the 4 to 7 people stopped at one point in time. I have some suggestions on that in week 7, so you can read those and be prepared for that. Either of those interviews could be done at any time. So if you can get them done sometime soon, do it. God bless you as you study. Have a great Valentine's Day.